You are listening to the Fitz and Healthy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Fitzgerald, also known as Lauren Fitz. I'm a medical doctor, a fitness instructor, an entrepreneur, a health and fitness coach, but most importantly, I am a lover of life. And here on the Fitz and Healthy podcast, I intend to give you a ton of great information and knowledge that will serve as potential power so that you can live a life by design and make it more fits and healthy. And don't forget to listen to the disclaimer at the end. I'm not your doctor, yo. All right, enjoy the episode. Much love. Ciao. What is up, y'all? Happy Friday. It's not the last Friday of July, but second to last Friday. And you guys, Cinthanie, obviously, we're live on Facebook now. So we're live on both YouTube and Facebook. What's up? Happy Fitz Friday Q&A, everyone. Cinthanie, what's up, girl? So you guys realize that she's got a different background. I actually have a different background too, but I'm still in my home. Right? It looks good. Festive, if you will. It's my mask that I got in New Orleans last weekend. But you're not in New Orleans today. You're freaking. Where are you at right now? Tell her. I mean, obviously I know, but no one else knows.
I am in Las Vegas for my bachelorette party because I'm getting married in September.
Hey, y'all. So we have a group text message between me, her, and a couple of other of our friends, and she wrote, she was like, "Well, I survived my first night of my bachelorette party without a hangover." I'm like, most people just have a bachelorette party. She's got a bachelorette weekend, y'all. Like, for real.
I started off good. I'm pacing myself.
So tell them the key to pacing yourself, because I just thought it was common sense, but a lot of people forget this common sense. So tell them the most important key to pacing yourself.
Well, I'm not an expert drinker, just know that. True. But for every 2 drinks I have, I drink a bottle of water.
Beautiful, guys. It's simple, right?
And I cut myself off. I know everybody says they're good at cutting themselves off, but seriously, I cut myself off. I was out until about 3:30 a.m. last night, and I had cut myself off by 11.
That's nice.
I was able to enjoy it, because if I get sick, I'm not going to have fun. So I've learned to balance alcohol and water for sure.
And you sweated out some of the alcohol as well by getting your twerk on, huh?
Oh. Yeah, girl, you know you got to.
You guys,
no shame in this game.
Right. The first time that I ever met Cinthanie, it was actually we had a team-made vacation on a cruise, and the first time that I saw this white girl bounce her booty, I'm like, "What? Who is this girl?" I'm like, "Okay, she could be my little sister."
Everybody in the club last night. Everybody in the club last night was like, "No wonder you're getting married." They're all like, "No wonder you're getting married, girl."
Yes. Okay.
It's all fun. It's just for fun.
And so I have to tell them that. So in this group text message that we have, Cinthanie tells us all that she made money last night. And it was not gambling or stripping. I'm just saying.
It wasn't by gambling, and it wasn't by stripping. Yeah, for sure.
I want to clarify that, just so you guys
let me just
know.
clarify. I was twerking, but not that way. But I had a sash on that says "bride to be," and this guy just was like, "You're getting married." I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "How much do you need for your wedding?" And I just kind of looked at him. I was like, "I'm sorry," and he started handing $100 bills. I was like, "Okay," like when in Vegas. Whatever.
For real. So how much money did you walk away with? I'm just curious.
$120.
No way.
Yeah. Awesome. So I actually made more money than I spent last night. So
that's awesome. This is a proud moment for me. Oh, so obviously your Wi-Fi connection, you're at the hotel in Vegas, so Wi-Fi connection is a little shoddy, but we can, for the most part, see you and hear you. So this Fitz Friday Q&A is only going to be 30 minutes. Let's go ahead and get started, because we already have one question for sure, and we'll take in the live questions as they come. Oh yeah, by the way, I forget, disclaimer. You guys make sure you listen to the end of the Fitz Friday Q&A live, because even though I am a doctor, I'm not your medical doctor, and you need to listen to that so that I can cover my tail and not get sued. Just saying. Okay. Now, Cinthanie, tell me what the first question is. Talk to me.
So the first question is actually from one of my really good friends that listens to our podcast.
Okay.
And she wanted to know, this is from Gabby. She said, how do I transition my young child to eating high fat, low carb without me feeling and him feeling like I am depriving him?
Okay. So without both parties feeling like deprivation is happening. Well, first things first, the mentality that you feel like there's any deprivation going on when you switch from eating a standard American diet to high fat, low carb, that's your choice of your mindset. It's a wrong mindset, in my opinion. So it starts with you. It starts with you changing your mindset, and it starts with you opening your mind to all of the different ways that eating high fat, low carb looks. Because if you really look into it, like, you can eat like a freaking king eating high fat, low carb, moderate protein. But, you know, like any diet, and I say that with quotation marks, a lot of people go into it thinking that there is deprivation to be had in this diet. And that's why I hate the word diet. It's your nutrition that you eat every day. And if you don't have something that can be maintained your whole life, it becomes a diet. It becomes a beginning and an end. But your nutrition every day, if you realize that you can eat healthy, good for you, and have a higher fat, lower carbohydrate, moderate protein nutrition every day without feeling deprived, then it becomes a lifestyle. And my opinion is that if it's good for you, it's good for your spouse, it's good for your kids, and it's good for your loved ones. And honestly, your kids mimic you, especially young kids. They just want to be like their mom and their dad, right? And if they see you eating something, they're going to be way more likely to want to eat it and try it. And the bottom line is, if you just start with some simple steps, like cutting out the refined sugars and refined grains and the fake foods that need to go through a huge process and have, you know, rainbow color packaging and all of the stuff to attract kids, like those are all of the foods that you need to start with just getting out of the house. And then get on Pinterest, guys. There's so many great ideas for literally do high fat, low carb, kid options or kid recipes or kid friendly. I mean, there's just so many different ways. Like Pinterest is a great place to start. You know, we are living in a day and age that we have knowledge at our fingertips. And so at the end of the day, if you don't figure it out, it's because you're not making the effort to, because literally it's called Google and YouTube. I mean, truly, like, when I have people ask me questions, I try and give them, you know, like, okay, you could probably find that, you know, like for a great example, everyone always asks me the bulletproof coffee. Have you tried? How do I make bulletproof coffee? Right. Well, have you tried to go to YouTube? Yeah. YouTube. YouTube. I mean, literally, that's where I went to figure out how to make it. And so, you know, people just want to be handed stuff. But at the end of the day, if you really want to make that transition, you're going to have to dive into it and get creative. But it can be done. And if it's better for you, it's better for your kids. And ultimately, that's what I recommend for all parents out there.
Agreed.
So, do you have any?
Because the food that we eat, I mean, I'm not a mom, but I am a one of 6 kids. And I know that from my experiences growing up that you inherit your parents' habits.
Oh yeah.
Their lifestyle becomes yours. So if you lead by example for your kids by setting the groundwork that this is how I eat and fuel my body, because that's how much I care for me and how much I care for you, that will translate with them over into their lifestyle and their habits, because our lifestyles are a learned habit from our childhood. So being able to set the groundwork for them as kids is honestly, that's the best time you can help somebody with their eating habits, because they're so malleable. They're kids, you know, they have an opinion, but they don't pay the bills. They don't pay for the food. So
right.
I can't tell you what to get. So
this is, I know that you've heard this story, but for people that haven't heard this story before, so Thrive Market was actually created by a guy that was raised by a poor single mom. And this poor single mom refused to let that be an excuse from her buying food that was healthier for her and her kid. And she always it's pretty cool to listen to him talk about his story, but it's like, sometimes she had to work 2 and 3 jobs, but she always chose the organic foods, the foods that were best for her kids' nutrition. And she could have easily taken the cheap, 99-cent menu at McDonald's. And because that's what happens. Unfortunately, the people that suffer the most from this terrible American food, standard American diet is the people that live below the poverty line. And those are the people that, well, we all need healthy food, bottom line, but you're convinced that it's unattainable to eat healthy if you struggle with money. And that's something that I just challenge everyone to think outside the box. And you can Google and YouTube that stuff too on ways to eat healthy on a budget. You have to put effort into it. But the guy that created thrivemarket.com, and we'll put a link on the show notes. It's thrivemarket.com/Lauren Fitz, but the Thrive, it's missing the I and the E. So it's THRV market.com, I believe, or no, it's Thrive Me. That's what it is. It gives you 2 months for free if you use that link. That being said, every single person that buys a year-long membership to Thrive Market, they give one to someone who is below the poverty line, who's in need, because they believe that people that struggle with money deserve to be eating healthy as well. So in Thrive Market, it's basically like Whole Foods meets Costco. So you're literally just
meets Amazon.
Yes, meets Amazon. Exactly. And I usually compare costs because I'm just funny like that. And Thrive Market is almost always the cheaper version. So
really?
Yeah. Yep. So pretty much I get, I try to go to farmers market to get my produce, because I live in California and I've got so many great options. But anything that I would have bought on the shelf, I pretty much buy from Thrive Market and or Amazon. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So do we have any other questions?
We do. So Kathy said that she has been adding a lot of raw ginger to her diet. And since that, she has noticed that she's not getting any mosquito bites and that her blood sugar levels seem to be more leveled out throughout the morning and afternoon. She said, is it my imagination, or does ginger really affect my insulin and blood sugar favorability?
Dude, it's not your imagination at all. And this is where people don't realize the power of food and the power of natural food. And this is why, Chinese medicine and herbalists and there's actually hundreds and thousands of years of people healing their bodies with different foods that we consume. And ginger is definitely one of them. Garlic. I mean, there's so many different foods. Let's just talk about the ingredients in Shakeology. All of those ingredients have some role in helping the body either be stronger with its immune system, better GI health. I was just listening to a podcast about the gut biome. Like, if you guys aren't tired of hearing about it, that's all you're going to hear about, guys, because the gut biome is connected to everything. But it's not in your head by any means. Ginger's one of the many natural remedies that can help a ton of stuff. So yeah, no, it's not a placebo effect. It's definitely real. And that's just one of the many things. And this is why I challenge people to have both an Eastern medicine doctor and a Western medicine doctor. So that means a naturopath and an MD or a DO, because a naturopath is going to try and basically help you prevent from needing to see your MD for disease processes that could be preventable by changing your lifestyle with good nutrition, exercise, minimizing stress and whatnot.
So Jennifer has a question. She said, can diverticulitis be 100% healed?
I believe so. I've seen diverticulitis is one of the many inflammatory disease processes that our environment brings along. And so you've heard me talk about, I don't know, Jennifer, if you've heard me talk about this before, but the whole field of epigenetics is that, okay, and I'm assuming that you might have diverticulitis or maybe someone you love. So I'm just going to assume that Jennifer has it. So Jennifer, you're given a set of genes, right? And one of the genes that you have is to have diverticulitis. Well, for some people, a lot of people, specifically diverticulitis, eating grains, gluten-containing foods can turn that switch from on to off or off to on, and you start having symptoms. Can it be healed immediately overnight by you stopping gluten, assuming that that's what turned that gene on? No, it takes time. It takes time to heal your gut biome. It takes time to heal your body completely, because it's this inflammatory process. In the process of that healing, you're changing everything. You're changing your stress level. You're changing your nutrition. You're changing your gut biome. You're changing your sleep patterns. You're getting back to the way God designed us to function at, every 24 hours. Right. And the medicine that you need will slowly be able to be weaned off. And I see the same thing with people with thyroid disease. So people with Hashimoto's thyroiditis or diabetes, like it doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen way faster than you imagine. So that all of a sudden, let's say the diabetic who needs, 100 units of insulin over a 24-hour period, all of a sudden they've changed their nutrition. They've cut out refined grains. They've decreased their amount of sugar. They've started getting exercise. They've maybe started intermittent fasting, or maybe a week, once a week, 24-hour fast, whatever, that they've started to increase their insulin sensitivity. And so now, instead of needing 1,000 units of insulin, they're down to like 50. And that happens in a few weeks. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, maybe I don't need this at all. And maybe that diabetes that the doctor told me I would have forever, maybe I don't have to have it forever. So all of these common disease processes that we see nowadays in 2017 that we didn't see back, like I was born in 1980. It was very rare for people to have diverticulitis and autoimmune disorders and whatnot. And what has changed? Well, we've been eating fake foods. We've been having lifestyles that are not natural. And so I believe that most people can definitely make your symptoms better, if not reverse completely. But it takes work. And a lot of people are eating foods that they're chemically addicted to, because the foods work on our brain just like drugs do. And it's not easy. And that's why, having an accountability group like the ones that we run help a lot, because this food addiction is real, and food addiction to really unhealthy food is real. So, all right.
What in addition to that, if I can just add,
of course,
even if it does take time, I mean, clearly it's not going to be overnight that you can heal your body through nutrition. But the thing is 6 months, a year, 2 years, 20 days, it's all going to pass regardless of what you do with the time. So don't be discouraged with a time frame. I mean, 6 months is going to come and go regardless of whether you work on your nutrition or not. So it's not that you need an immediate result right now. Just value your time as you're going so that you can fix your nutrition. Because 6 months will go by and you'll either be like, yes, I'm so glad that I worked on my nutrition because I feel so much better. Or you'll be like, man, I wish I would have started 6 months ago. So don't let a time frame keep you from doing something just because it's not an immediate result. We are so bad about that because we have access to everything at our fingertips all the time. So we expect immediate results. Like I'll do an ab workout, and of course I immediately check for abs because I just worked out my abs, right? I'm supposed to have abs after that.
It's true. We are a society of instant gratification. And the fact is that if you could look into the future and know that, oh my gosh, yes, changing my diet would make my symptoms get better, if not go away completely, you wouldn't think twice about it. So what do you have to lose? Because the only other option is for you to keep doing what you're doing and keep needing more medicine and keep having more visits to the hospital, more likelihood of you needing surgery. And you guys, the outcome of diverticulitis can mean a colostomy bag and you having poop on the outside of your abdomen the rest of your life. Like these are real things that you have to understand that are consequences of these small decisions that you make every day. But I can't give up my bread. Yes, you can. Would you rather have poop on the outside of your body?
Yeah.
Because I mean, let's just be honest.
I mean,
that is it's true. My poor grandmother, she, thank goodness they were able to reverse her colostomy, but there was a moment where she actually had to get part of her colon removed. And for those people that don't know my history, my mom's mom has Alzheimer's. She's so sweet. She's not an angry Alzheimer patient, but nonetheless, it's very taxing on my parents because she lives with my parents, and she had, I believe she had, I want to say it was a ruptured diverticuli. And anyway, long story short, she basically had to have part of her colon removed, and she had a colostomy bag, and it was, thank goodness, for a short amount of time, and they were able to reverse it. But just that short amount of time that she had that, like I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And my poor, my parents are such good people, and they were taking care of her. But literally, like these are realities that people have to understand are consequences of the tiny decisions of, well, I'm just going to go to McDonald's today. I'm just going to go, get this today. I'm just going to, like, all of those add up.
Yes. And don't let it get to that point to decide to do something about it. Like, don't wait for something drastic to happen to be like, oh crap, I really need to get my shits together. Like, you have to be proactive about it.
Yeah. I doubt you saw my live video that I did on Facebook the other day on my personal page, but I titled it "Cancer is a Biatch," because I wanted to make the point that, I had a loved one get diagnosed with cancer recently, and they essentially sent me a picture of healthy food because now they're starting to take my advice. And I got online saying, I don't want you to be that person. I make that decision now, so you're not having to do it after getting a diagnosis like that, So anyway, okay. So next question.
So we have a question from Christy. She says, any suggestions for those who live below the poverty level and are low income? It's very hard to live a healthy lifestyle if you don't have the money. What do you do to eat healthy when you need to follow a strict diet?
Christy, you are exactly right. It is hard, but it's not impossible. And the first thing that you do is that you make a decision that your health is more important than everything else. And, I never want to assume that you are the person that has an iPhone or gets your nails done or goes to Starbucks. I'm talking to the person that literally watches every single penny. And I challenge you to literally get on YouTube or Google and type in ways to eat healthy on a tight budget and start getting some ideas, because this is a myth that the fast food companies and the big food companies that make all of the crap at the convenience store, they want you to believe that it is way cheaper to just spend the 99 cents on the whatever. But long term, specifically, it's definitely not cheaper. But even in the present day, it's a myth, but you have to get creative. And that's the thing, when people are born into a family or a situation in which they are below poverty line, it's lack of knowledge and not realizing that, oh my gosh, eating this every day is actually leading to that. So it's pursuit of knowledge is the potential to change everything. So my first recommendation to you, sister, is to change that mindset. And then second recommendation is just to start loving yourself and saying, I'm worth it. And if that means that I have to go without, this particular part of my budget every month so that I can spend an extra whatever so that I can feed myself healthy, girl, that's where you got to start. That's where you got to start. Oh yeah. Government assistance is always always a good idea, but I would also recommend to not to not follow their guidelines because the government guidelines are all about supporting big food companies, and they want
they're sponsored.
Yes, they're sponsored. They want you to eat corn. They want you to eat soy. They want you to eat all of the stuff that they give subsidies to. And that's, I don't want you to eat that. So, but yeah. Okay. What other questions we got? Cause we have about 5 more minutes.
So Stava wants to know, she said, I have researched melasma to the point of driving myself crazy. We live in a very healthy and active lifestyle, but I just wonder if you could weigh in.
Oh, girlfriend. Yes. Okay. So for those of you that don't know what melasma is, it's basically, it's where the pigmentation in your skin starts to turn darker. Some people call it pregnancy spots. And because when it's all hormonally based. So, so when a woman is pregnant, they can get these pregnancy spots, the melasma spots. When a woman is on birth control, they can get melasma. And that, I've got to sneeze. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. And then I say it and I don't. Okay. Sorry.
Bless you.
Yeah. Bless you in advance, maybe. So this was actually my story in my 20s. In my 20s, I was on birth control. I got on birth control when I was a teenager. I had terrible cramps and I started on birth control. I wish, obviously, I'm going to do a whole podcast on my own opinion about birth control, but I wish that I wouldn't have, because if I knew back then what I know now, I would have never gotten on them in the first place. Yeah. And those of you that are like, I can't wait, look into either the old school diaphragm or copper IUDs. That would be, and then getting in tune with your body and knowing when you ovulate. That's we will do a whole entire episode on the Fitz and Healthy podcast of why I have the sentiment that I do about birth control. But nonetheless, I was on birth control for a whole decade. And at first it just looked like especially when I was in the sun, I looked like I had little cute freckles and they were cute for a while. And then I was in med school and this little nurse at the VA, she's like, and she's Hispanic because she called me Mija, you've got some dirt on your face. And that was the point where I realized that all of my melasma spots, the cute freckles, they'd all joined together. And it just looked like I had a big spot of dirt on my face. And that was the moment in time that I'm like, okay, I can't live in denial about it. So I got off birth control. And that sent me into a tailspin of having adult onset acne because it's all hormonally based. So long story short, for those of you that have melasma, there are a lot of things that you can do. One, I would get off of birth control if you are on birth control. I would. 2, sun, you guys, I love being in the sun. I love it. But if you're obsessed with getting tan all the time, it's not going to help you. And like when I went to Maldives, my melasma came out. Despite the fact that I wore really strong sunscreen every day, my melasma still came out. Also being aware of the foods that potentially have hormones in them. And so first thing that I think about is dairy. So a lot of the dairy products that we consume have hormones in it. And those hormones affect the cow that we're drinking, that we're taking the dairy from, and they affect our hormones. Also the meats that we're eating. If you're not eating meat, if you're eating conventionally raised meat, you're getting antibiotics, you're getting hormones, you are getting fat that's laden with GMO pesticide laden crap. So this is why knowing the quality of meat that you're eating is so important. Oh, by the way, we should show them your t-shirt, right?
Oh yeah, we should.
How did we forget? What's the name of your friend that sent you the shirt?
So my best friend Erin, she's actually here. We've been best friends since 4th grade, mind you. But she traveled from Alaska here for my bachelorette party. I'm in Vegas right now at 26 hours to be here. She's a great friend. But she brought me this shirt from Alaska because she knows us, Lauren.
Yeah. Yep.
But it says fish are not for farming. It says fish are not for farming. Eat wild salmon.
Yes.
The bottom.
I love it.
I made my day when she gave me this shirt. It's awesome.
Tell her I'm kind of upset that she didn't get me one too.
I'll see what I can do.
I mean, for real. Got to hook a sister up.
Okay.
Is Erin the really tall one that I saw on Instagram stories?
She's a tall drink of water.
Oh yeah. And want to tell everyone. So I'm stepping up my Instagram game. And I just created a Fitz and Healthy Instagram account. So if people go and search Fitz and Healthy podcast, they can find us because we got our first set of official Fitz and Healthy podcast pictures that are they're great, but there's more funny ones than are great.
Now.
We're official. We're official.
This is true.
I can't wait. Oh, kind of. We're totally a hot mess. In fact, before the live broadcast, Cinthanie, Robert, and I were all talking about all of the outtakes and how we'll probably be sharing those pictures more than just the really perfectly posed ones because that's
who we are.
That's who we are. Yeah, yeah. So, okay. So, any other questions before we get going? Because it is.
Yeah. We have one more question.
Okay, we'll do one more. It's half past, so I know that you got to get going. So we'll do this one more question and get going.
So Talisa, I hope I say that right, says, "Hey ladies, I'm curious, what dietary recommendations do you have for someone who possibly has Crohn's?"
Oh man, if there's only one element of food that you could cut out for Crohn's, I would cut out gluten. But honestly, anytime that when I was practicing medicine, when I had patients that had autoimmune disorders like Crohn's, I would always recommend them going, because this website has so many great free resources. Going to whole30.com. There's it's a 4-page PDF and it tells you how to do an actual Whole30, which is basically you're eliminating foods that cause inflammation in the body, because Crohn's is one of those autoimmune disorders that's on that spectrum of your body is basically attacking itself and it's causing inflammation. And sometimes more times than not, it is related to food. And so this is why I love Whole30 is just one of many great examples of an elimination diet. And that's essentially what it is. It's eliminating foods that have a known history of causing inflammation in a person. And so the two biggest sources of inflammation are grains, gluten, and dairy. But in the Whole30, they have you cut out grains, they have you cut out sugar, they have you cut out dairy, legumes, all sorts of stuff for 30 days. And I love their concept because just like we were talking about earlier with the lady who asked about diverticulitis, like if you had an ability to look down the road, 6 months down the road, knowing that, okay, I changed what I ate today and now my symptoms are going to be better in 6 months, if not gone completely, you wouldn't think twice about doing it, right? So what is stopping you from just making that decision? Because in the long run, if you do this for 6 months and it doesn't change anything, okay, you have the rest of your life to figure out what's going on. But more than likely, you're going to have an epiphany of, oh my gosh, food affects everything. And I mean, like Cinthanie, I'm sure, because she, you're right now in Vegas, and neither of us ever claim to be perfect. And that's, well, and I think that's, I think in our social media driven world that everyone, has the perfectly filtered pictures and just, there's just a lot of fakeness. And people are craving authentically real people. And that's why I'm always telling people, look, I'm not perfect, but I try and follow a good nutrition 90% of the time. But when I'm in New Orleans, you better bet that I'm going to eat a beignet or two or three.
Or chicken and waffles.
Or chicken and waffles. Yes.
That's why I always tell people that I love pizza. Like, no matter how much I know about nutrition or take care of myself, I'll forever love pizza. Like, it's not going to go away. That's just the reality of it. Like, and while I'm here, clearly I'm drinking while I'm here. And we've talked about this many times. I'm not a drinker. I really don't drink. And my body is already freaking out. And it's only been one day. I'm breaking out. And I'm not hungover, but my stomach it definitely isn't happy. And because I'm eating carbs to compensate for the alcohol, so I do always, when I travel, and I know you do this as well, is I always try to maintain my habits though. I still work out, still got my workout in yesterday. I did shift shop and it totally kicked my trash. Totally. I bring Shakeology with me. I still drink my college. I mean, I bring what I can with me to continue so that my body doesn't freak out, because
freak out,
especially right now, I've been traveling by the time I get home Sunday, I will have been gone for 12 days. So this is a long time for me to be away. And that's plenty of time for me to completely change my habits in a negative way, to compromise the habits that I have worked years building up to. So it's about give and take, you still have to maintain and honor your lifestyle and your habits. But if you're going to go out and have a glass of champagne, girl, go out and have a glass of champagne. And
don't beat yourself up over it. Absolutely. No, it was great because the second day we were in New Orleans. So I shared a hotel room with my girl Leah and one of my closest friends, Rachel, who is also a coach, and she's also an anesthesiologist. And the three of us, so we opened up her computer, went on Beachbody On Demand, did PIO. Literally, I was in the center between the two queen beds, and then they were both in the spots at the end of the bed. It was so, but it's so true. Like you don't want to undo, because habits are everything. If you want to be successful in life, habits, discipline, they're crucial. So,
and you're always either maintaining habits or creating new ones. And so if I'm not maintaining the healthy habits that I have when I'm at home right now, I'll be creating new ones that are not healthy while I'm on this trip, And so even if it's not the best, most kick-ass workout I've ever had, but I get the workout in anyway. I mean, at least I'm maintaining my habits, and I feel better. It's not like, oh, I have to work out because I'm going to eat junk food today. It's not that. It's because I feel better when I work out. It's just part of my routine. It's not because I'm punishing myself because I'm going to eat bad later. It's just to maintain my routine. It's just having balance. Once you find a balance, it's okay to have a slice of pizza every once in a while, or a glass of champagne every once in a while,
or a beignet.
Life. You can't live in a little box, or a beignet, or lots of them.
Right.
But, if you can find a lifestyle and a balance that works for you, then that's the best thing ever, because then you're going to live your life, and you can't live in a box, especially with nutrition. The more you restrict yourself, the more you're going to want to just rebel and binge. So,
and I don't know if you did the speed 25 or the strength 25 today, but I went on the rooftop and did speed 25 from the shift shop outside. And I love how some of the things, I mean, he's just such a motivating coach. And I love how he says, let's get better, and that's kind of where I want to end this on, is that we just want to help everyone get better, including ourselves. And it's not about perfection, but it's about just becoming a better version of you one day at a time by making the little decisions that add up to big ones. And Cinthanie, you have a message for every single person listening to this.
I do. Before that, though, I wanted to mention something. Is our mentor actually has a little motto that fits this perfectly. And her motto is leave it better. Whether you are in a conversation with someone and you're talking to them, the words that you're saying to them, is it going to leave your relationship better after that conversation? When you do a workout, are you going to work hard enough to leave your body better than it was before? When you eat, it's everything. It's not just your nutrition, but just it's such a good way to approach anything. It's just what I'm doing now, will it leave me better? And so, but my message for you is that you are a good person and you deserve good things to happen to you.
Amen. We thank you guys so much for spending this Friday with us. We love Fitz Friday Q&A Live because we love getting to talk to you guys live. But we appreciate you going to the Fitz and Healthy podcast, downloading every single episode, because the amount of downloads helps us get the word out. And what helps us get the word out even more is if you leave a review. The more reviews that we have, the more people get to get exposed to this podcast. And this podcast is meant to help people get better. And you, by you sharing it, by you subscribing to it, by you leaving reviews and downloading every episode, you're helping us with our bigger mission, which is to help everyone become a little bit better one day at a time. So we thank you guys so much. Much love. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys later. Ciao.
Bye, guys.
Make sure that you find us on social media. You can find Cinthanie on Instagram and Facebook at Cinthanie. So that's CINTHANIE, and on Snapchat at Cinthanie P. And find me on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at Club Fitz Fitness. Remember, that's FITZ Fitness. And on Snapchat, just at Club Fitz. I appreciate your time listening so much. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fitz and Healthy podcast, can you please go do me a favor and go subscribe at whatever platform that it is that you listen to podcasts. Leave a review. We read every single review, and we appreciate the time that you take to leave your thoughts and opinions. Now, also remember, while I am a medical doctor, the information I provide here is not intended to provide medical advice or a professional diagnosis, opinion, treatment, or services to you or to any other individual. I am providing general information for educational and informational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for medical or professional care. You should not use this information in place of a visit, call, consultation, or the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. The information I share is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or medical condition. If you believe you have a medical emergency, just call 911 immediately or your physician. Now, enough of that medical legal jargon. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I appreciate your time. Now, go live a Fitz and Healthy life.